Welcome back. We are in Vegas, Resorts World. We got some nightclub music going on behind us, and welcome to the start of the Vegas vlogs. I'm here for the entire month and a half of the WSOP, and I'm starting a challenge. Can I make $10,000 playing cash games? 2-5, mostly 5-10, bumping up the stakes here at Resorts World because they let me film. And a bit of a spoiler, but we're off to a very hot start. Let's get right into it in today's vlog. Let's go. What a better way to start and be greeted at a new 5-10 table than to get pocket aces. We are short-handed, playing only 5-handed as we wait for more people to come. I open it up to $30 praying to get some action, but both players fold. But just 10 minutes later, we pick up Jack 10 offsuit. We call a $30 raise. There's 4 players in the hand, and boom, we turn the nuts. Well, there's technically a flush draw out there, but right now with no betting on the flop, I think it's the nuts. So I bet out for $50, and we pick up 2 callers. So we basically just don't want to see the board pair as we have the Jack of spades. So obviously don't mind if a spade rolls off, as then we will have the nuts. But the river comes, it's a brick, and now when I'm first up, I have to choose what sizing I want to bet here. I think if I just bet massive, it may seem like a bluff, like I was just doing this holding the bare Jack of spades and not a straight. So I cut out and I fire $220. The first player quickly folds, but when it's back on the initial raiser, he seems very, very perplexed. He's thinking, he's in the tank, he goes back and forth, and eventually he flicks in the call. We show the Jack 10, we're good, so a nice plus about $400 start. These hands that are quote-unquote little for 5-10 are still pretty massive, as plus $400 is a great way to start, and let's head to the next hand. And when you jump stakes, you can't be scared. You have to still play the way you want to play, so I'm still getting in there with some of my favorite hands like Queen 9 suited, but this next hand is crazy. Alright, time for the hand of the night, my first tough spot here in Vegas. These guys are putting me to the test right away with Ace King suited. I decide to open it up to $30 and we pick up 2 callers. So we're going 3 ways to a flop, looking to see a good one, and that's exactly what we see as it comes King 7-3 with 2 spades. We definitely want to c-bet here, as we'll c-bet with a large portion of all of our hands, especially with a flush draw out there. Have to put out a bet, but we don't have to go too big. But I do decide to actually go pretty big, as I c-bet here for $80. The first player folds, and now the second player decides to flick in the call. Not sure what he's got here. Maybe a spade draw, maybe a lesser king. Let's see what the turn holds, and the turn comes a 6 of hearts. Now there's a double flush draw out there. Obviously we don't have either of those suits, so we want to continue betting here. I fire for 140. Don't have to go too crazy. We still want to string him along with like king queen if he has king jack, king 10. So when it's back on my opponent, I'm hoping he just makes the call. We could fire a big bet on the river when the flush draw breaks. Maybe it'll look like we're bluffing, but my opponent has other plans, as he thinks, and he slides a rack of chips in the middle, signaling all in. And I just want to throw up all over the table because it is not a small all in. He covers me, and if you look at the bottom left, I had about $1,200-ish to start the hand, which means this all in is about $900-ish effective for me. I bet 140, and my opponent puts me all in for $900. Okay, that's where it's kind of tough when you're not playing 2-5, because even though I do sit deep stack at 2-5, if I had like $800, $700 to start the hand, this would be an easy snap call. If he's got me beat, he's got me beat. But I don't know, I'm just trying to put this puzzle together. There is a double flush draw out there, but my opponent easily can have pocket 7s, pocket 3s, he could have pocket 6s. It would be absolutely disgusting if he just had king 7 or king 6, which I doubt. So on the other hand, there's just really not too many value hands my opponent can have here. I think with it being a double flush draw, he could have turned just some kind of crazy massive hand if he has king X of hearts. If he was floating with something like 8-9 of hearts, he has a massive draw. And after a while, I decide, listen, Anthony, sometimes you got to put your big boy shoes on, make the call. If you're wrong, you're wrong. It'll suck. You'll be down $1,000. But hey, you came out here to grind. You came out here to get in the mix and not be bitched and pushed around. Sometimes you got to put your foot down. And I say, I call. And right away, my opponent says, you want to go twice? And I'm like, okay, that means he's probably got a draw. And this does not influence my decision. I always want to go once. I do usually oblige, but in a big pot like this, I say, you know what, let's just go one time. So my heart is racing out of my shoes. We are going one time to the river. I don't know if I'm good. I don't know if I have to fade something, but let's see what the river comes, and it's the 6 of diamonds, and my opponent quickly shows his hand, so I'm like, oh my god, what does he have? But he shows ace 5 of hearts. We had to fade a flush draw and a gutter, and we faded it all. I'm so happy that I had the guts to make the call, and oh my goodness, a full double up. We bought in for 1,000. We full doubled from 1,200, so we have 2,400. We're up $1,400 already, but hey, that's not the end of the session, and things continue to go good, so let's head to the next hand before you guys click out of this shit. Just 5 minutes later, we are running insane as we call a raise with queen 10 of clubs and flop the nuts. We c-bet, but everyone decides to fold. And then just 2 minutes after that, we get into another big, massive hand against the same opponent that we just doubled through. We call a raise with ace 3 suited, and we flop an ace, so I decide to check it over to him. He c-bets for $40, so obviously we're not going anywhere, and oh my goodness, we turn trips. Definitely could be gross here because he could have all the ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, as he was the preflop aggressor, so we have to continue in flow and check it over to him. And this time he bets again, and it's pretty big. He fires for $150, so definitely some cause for concern, but I mean, I'm never folding here, and raising is just out of the question. That's an overplay, so I flick in the call, going to a river, just have to hold for dear life, and the river is a 5, so now we are chopping with all of his aces, which could be good, could be bad, I don't know, who knows. Maybe if I put out a massive bet here, he could hero call me with pocket kings, pocket queens, I don't know. So I decided to bet out for $500, and he snap folds, so seems like he was bluffing. We take it down and on to the next. 2 minutes later, yes, 2 minutes, the string of hands that I'm getting is crazy. We pick up ace king again, this time in the small blind. Under the gun opens to $30, and I decide to 3-bet to 120, and he makes the call, snap calls me. He's probably like, how the hell does this guy keep getting hands? There's no way he has a premium here, but unfortunately for him, I do. So we're going heads up to a flop, which comes 5-7-9 with a spade draw. Definitely interesting here, and I've said time and time again, when you 3-bet ace king and you're out of position and you just completely whiff the flop, I honestly think it's one of the hardest spots to play in poker, one of the hardest things to do, but nonetheless, let's head into the action and see what I did. I decided to c-bet for $120, and my opponent snap calls me. And as I slow things down here, I'm staring at the board like I always do every hand, and out of the corner of my eye, this Euro Pro is staring at me. He does not look at the board, he does not look at his hand, he is staring into my soul. It makes my heart beat a little bit faster, and I just don't know what to do. Do you guys ever just stare back at someone? I thought that might be funny if I just stared right back at him. But yeah, let's try to keep on the rest of this hand while this guy is staring me down. Nonetheless, let's head to a turn, which is a 5. Very interesting, doesn't really change the board. If he has some kind of overpair like pocket 10s, pocket jacks, maybe even pocket queens that doesn't put in the 4-bet, he's not going anywhere. And I don't really see him going anywhere with the flush draw, so when it's on me, I do kind of think that you should check here, but obviously that's not what I did. I continued firing here for $210, and pretty much once again, my opponent snap calls me. So yeah, kind of interesting. Let's head to a river, which is the 3 of hearts. All of the straight draws bricked, all of the flush draws bricked, and like I said, if he's got an overpair, honestly, if he even has like pocket 8s, I just don't see him going anywhere, so I think for quite some time, and I decided to check it over to him. I don't really like this, and like I said, it's tough when you're out of position, but I think with me playing so many hands back to back to back, as you guys see, they're good hands, but the players at the table don't know that, I think it's just really hard to rep a really good hand here. Obviously, we have removal to aces and kings, but like I said, I just don't see how this guy is folding as he snap called on the flop, snap called on the turn. Maybe he's trying to convey some kind of strength and just kind of make me scared, but nonetheless, check is what I did, and now he fires massive for $520. I did kind of debate in my head hero calling if he bets somewhere in the range of like $200 to $300, as like I said, the flush draws bricked, but I just think for $520, it's not even close to the right price to hero call. I don't think it's worth it to turn this hand into a bluff, although that would be pretty sick, and maybe when I get a bit better at the game and my bankroll's a bit deeper, I could pull off a sick bluff like this, but I decide eventually to fold. Let me know what you guys think of this hand, and on to the next. So like I said, I played 2 sessions that are going to be covered in this vlog on Wednesday and Thursday. So this was Wednesday's session. We cashed out. We won $1,400, and then tomorrow we came back into the 2-5 streets. I know, a little backwards, but the 5-10 list was too long. But without further ado, let's get right into it. We call a little 3-bet with ace-2 of hearts. We don't get there. And we kind of chip down, don't really get into any interesting hands until this crazy hand happens at 7:30, about an hour into the session, and just strap in and get ready for this. I'm in the cutoff and it folds to me. I decide to open it up to $20, and now the button 3-bets, but not really too big. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just coming from 5-10, but he 3-bets to $60, which is 3x, but to me, doesn't seem too much, so I decide to flick in the call. Out of position, not the best, but let's just head to a flop here. And we get a pretty interesting one as he comes 5-5-6 with a club out there, so we flop a backdoor flush draw as well as a gutter. He shouldn't have a 5 or anything that connects with this board 3-betting from the button. He definitely could have some diamond draws, but let's just head to the action. I check, and he pretty standardly c-bets for $50, so I decide to flick in the call, see if we can turn something, and that's exactly what we do, as the turn now is pretty interesting. It's the queen of clubs. We pick up a flush draw, but also if he had something like pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s, pocket jacks, he's not going to be in love with the queen, so maybe we can finagle something, we can make a little bit of a move here. So I continue in flow and check it over to him, and now he continues here for $75. So some thoughts are going through my mind, some evil, some dirty thoughts, something to make a move. I decide to cut out, and I decide to check raise to $235. I think I would play a 5 in this exact way. I think if I flopped something like 3-4 of diamonds, a massive draw, I would kind of play it in a similar way. I'd probably check raise the flop, but check raising the turn isn't too bad as well. If I had something like queen X of diamonds, maybe I would check raise now to get some more money in, see where I'm at. And even if my opponent does have pocket aces or pocket kings, it's a pretty weird spot for him here, because what am I repping that's a bluff? I mean, I think, like I said, I would raise all of my draws on the flop. The only hand that I could have here that would be a bluff, that would be a great time to raise, would be something like 7-8 of clubs, and we have 8-9 of clubs, so close enough. I think this is a pretty good hand to bluff with, but maybe I'm being results oriented. And after a really long time, he thought for about like 2 minutes live. He decides to flick in the call, so now my heart is racing and I am praying, dealer one time, make this easy for me, drop a 7, drop a club, but no. The river is the jack of spades, so obviously not good if he has pocket jacks, but another card that if he has pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s, he's just not really in love with. I could have plenty of queen jack myself. I could have something like queen jack of diamonds and just hit the jackpot. So when it's on me, I do some quick math. There's about $650, $600-ish in the pot, and I have about $670 in my stack. So I take a deep sigh, I close my eyes, and I say I am all in. And we fade the snap call, which is honestly the most thing that I was worried about. And now it's time to sweat. If my opponent has aces and kings, like I said, it is not an easy call off whatsoever. He definitely can't really call with like 8s, 9s, 10s. Even like ace queen is in such a weird spot. And I look over at my opponent and he looks like he's in agony. He doesn't really know what to do. He has a similar stack as I do, so I guess he's just debating, do I really want to put all my money in the middle with one pair? I've put him to the absolute test. I could shed all my profits from yesterday in this one hand, this one punt. And after a long time, it all comes down to this moment. He folds. Oh my goodness, my heart is beating out of my chest. This is the craziest natural adrenaline rush in the world. If you guys want to wake up, you guys want to go crazy, go run a massive $1,000 bluff. You'll be wide awake. But oh my goodness, I cannot believe we take it down. I haven't ran a massive bluff in a long time. You guys haven't seen a big bluff from me in a while. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully that got your hearts pumping. And let's head to the next hand. We got some more crazy hands from this session. Now, about 30 minutes later, we play our favorite hand right now, ace king of clubs. There's an open to $20 in early position. I decide to 3-bet $260, and our opponent, who we just bluffed in this hand, makes the cold call in the button, so it seems like he wants some revenge, and that brings the initial raiser in as well. So we're going 3 ways to a board here, and it comes ace high with 2 diamonds. I mean, I've just been running crazy, getting crazy hands, picking up awesome flops, running bluffs in the right spots. I mean, it just can't get any better than this. The initial raiser checks, and if this was just heads up, I might check back here and try to get 2 streets later, but 3 ways here, I think we definitely have to c-bet, so I make it $50, and the same opponent that we bluffed in the button makes the call, and the initial raiser folds, so kind of weird for him to cold call and then call on the flop now. I mean, he could have some like ace queen, ace jack, ace 10. He could have some diamond draws here. So let's head to a turn, which is gross. It's the 10 of diamonds. So if he has ace 10, he now has 2 pair. If he had a diamond draw, he now has a flush. I just think it's a pretty gross card. I think we can check now. And if he checks or if he bets, we can call and, try to hold on the river depending what he does. So I decide to check, and he checks it back, so I think we're definitely good here. We have nothing to worry about, and we can go for some value on the river. The river comes looking for no diamond, and that's what happens. It's clean. It's actually a 6, so now if he has any ace, he might think, okay, we're probably just chopping unless he has, ace jack, ace queen, ace king, but nonetheless, all of his lesser aces now play the 10 kicker. Pretty good card. Like if he had something like ace 2, ace 4, ace 7, ace 8, ace 9, yada yada. So I decide to bet out for $100, and after a little while, he decides to fold. We take it down, and we've got one more crazy hand to go over. If you thought our ace-king hand was run good, wait till you see this one. We look down at pocket 7s. We're in the big blind. Under the gun opens to $20. The button calls, the small blind folds, and we obviously complete. No need to 3-bet here. And we're going 3 ways to a board in which we smash ace 7 deuce with 2 spades. I check, the initial raiser bets $25, and now the button calls. So some crazy action when it's back on me. I think although it looks extremely strong, I want to put in a raise here, so I make it $80, hoping to see some more re-raises, some more crazy action, but the initial raiser folds, and now I'm like, oh great, now the button's definitely going to fold, but the button snap calls, which is pretty indicative of a flush draw, so going to a turn, just don't want to see a spade, and that's exactly what we see. The 2 of hearts, a beautiful, beautiful turn, obviously, unless he has 3-5, but can't be scared of that. I want to go big now because it might look like I have a spade draw if I go big and he could hold on with an ace, so I bet out here for $200, and when it's back on him, he snap calls once again, so looking to fade that spade once again, and that's exactly what comes. Although the backdoor heart draw completes on the 8 of hearts, I think we have to go for some value now if he's got those backdoor hearts. Congrats, man, you just win the hand if he has like ace X of hearts, but we can't be shy, we can't be scared, we're here to get max value. I decided to move all in, and as you see my opponent's chip stack, he only has about $350 to $400 left, so he's pretty pot committed, and when he does not snap fold, it becomes apparent that he doesn't have a spade draw. I mean, maybe he just rivered an 8, he had an 8 high spade draw, and now he's debating a hero call, but when he starts counting out his chips, I'm just praying for a call. As time goes on, he looks more and more like he wants to call, and after a long time, he puts in those chips, we show the 7s, and he mucks, we take it down. These last 2 sessions that we played here are just crazy, I cannot complain. And we rack up shortly after, booking a $1,200 win. So in our first 2 days here, we're up $2,600, and things get even crazier on next week's vlog. We played an insane 5-10 session. We flopped something absolutely insane on our opponent. We sat next to Andrew Nemi, got some value, had some fun. Stay tuned till next week. Thanks for watching, and peace out.